I still can't express myself in English. I still hesitate when I have to speak. And I don't really have the confidence to express my own thoughts. If this is anything that you can resonate with, then here's a video for you with my thoughts on how you could also boost your fluency. Hey English learners, my name is Chubby. Welcome to my channel for English learners who want to learn how to make more words, more vocabulary memorable with the help of listening and spoken communication. And I speak quite a lot about how you could also make sure that you don't forget words and also learn how to speak without hesitation in this video. But let's jump into today's one with some extra thoughts on this. First, you need to ask yourself, what am I doing to reach fluency in English? Because honestly, I see so many people making this mistake. They say they listen to podcasts every day, read books in English, and also watch a bunch of videos, use social media in English, and this is fine. You certainly need to surround yourself with English if you can on a daily basis in order to become fluent. But you need to remember that quality always beats quantity. I mean, what exactly are you doing when you're listening to podcasts? Are you driving to work where you have to pay attention to traffic around or signs that are coming up and you're potentially still a little bit sleepy and not really ready to pay close attention to what you're listening to? Or when you're watching a video, how often do you get bored with it? Go to the toilet, go out to the kitchen to drink a glass of water, a glass of vodka, check your phone for the latest posts on Instagram. This is not quality language learning. I speak more about habits of useful English speakers in this video, so check this out. You have to realize that in order for you to become fluent in English, you need to pay attention to the English that you're listening to. You need to take in some of the expressions, those words with, prepositions, phrasal verbs that you're listening to in order for you to be able to automatize them in the future, which is what eventually fluency is. Here's the one I call Fluency and Confidence Pyramid that shows you the different levels of language automatization. You have so much input out there. It's all the ads, social media posts, tests, captions, videos, everything else. But it's up to you and your brain and how attentive your mind is to decide what and how much you take in from that input. This is where you have to look at yourself and see if you're more of an analytical person, in which case you have fewer problems speaking accurately without grammar mistakes, and you will pay much more attention to all those small little words that a lot of other people don't tend to pay attention to. But if you tend to focus on the big picture, the goal, then you might focus too much on the meaning. Try to get as much out of the text in terms of meaning, but you won't be paying attention to details when it comes to language learning. If you want to find out more about what other things might hold you back from improving, just click in the link in the description to download my free ebook. Japanese bento, one of my favorites. So we actually need a good balance of both fluency and accuracy practice. And it's really important to be careful with the time you spend, the energy and the attention you really dedicate to learning the language. Your current level of English is what we call an interlanguage. It's a temporary state that can obviously improve, that will obviously improve. And this is partly why we should always look at fluency as a continuum. And the more you put in, the more efforts you put in, the more you surround yourself with English and try to use it, try to learn from all the feedback you get, the easier you get to that stage where you can really speak fluently and without hesitation. Whatever you actively do to work on your fluency will eventually help you get closer to the other end of that continuum. but you've got to be extremely careful with the time you dedicate to the things you do. One of the biggest problems with all this content out there, social media, everything else that helps you learn English for free, which is great in this day and age, is that it's not tailored to your needs and to helping you express your own self, your thoughts, and your personality the best way you can. And this is where I'm going to mention your goals. Language is such a huge thing to learn, and when you want fluency, you need automaticity in those things. You really want to communicate, so it's easy to fall into the trap of always looking out for new content, new idioms, phrasal verbs, fancy expressions that make you sound like you are smarter. Sometimes we could see that here on YouTube in some videos. Honestly, if you can't even use verbs in the right tense or prepositions in the right way, I wouldn't necessarily focus on learning the newest phrasal verbs or the most infrequent expressions that wouldn't help you express yourself anyway. Goal setting and reflection are crucial parts of language learning. We always dedicate enough time to that with my students to have a direction and to make sure that you never fall off the track. I'd say map out your current level of English, be aware of your shortcomings, the things you really need to focus on, and work on them first. I see a lot of students who aren't really aware of their level of English, of their own way of using or sometimes learning English. It's really difficult. I totally understand. It's extremely hard for us to see ourselves from the outside. And let me show you a short clip that will help you understand this better.
Our nose is located right above our mouth. Suppose you don't brush your teeth for 3 days. Though this nose is right here, it won't tell you you have not brushed your teeth. The whole room will know you have not brushed your teeth, but you will not know. This is the human predicament. It's very easy to see what's wrong with this guy, what's wrong with her, what's wrong with her. It takes a lot of observation to see what's wrong with this.
Yeah, we can't smell our own sweat many times, just like we aren't really sure how stinky our breath is if we happen to forget to brush our teeth. It's extremely important to put aside our ego and look out for feedback from the outside world that will give us the right feedback on our English. Learners who get feedback on the way they learn English or the way they use English do not only feel way more confident about their English, but they also know that they are on the right track. Well, if you need help with what to focus on, then this free tool, Pearson's Global Scale of English, can be a great tool for you. This toolkit basically gives you can-do statements that help you see what you still aren't able to express at your level. And it's all based on the Common European Framework of Reference, you know, the one that assigns A2 or B1, C1 to levels of English. Check it out and use it to get inspired to set your goals and work towards them. Input is your best friend, and if you want to sound more natural, you want to avoid making mistakes, you need to look at English from a different perspective and stop assuming that there are certain ways to say things in English just because there are certain ways to say things in your language. It's about looking at English not from the point of view of your first language. And learning from context, and context itself is so much more important than you realize. But of course, we get better at talking about topics and use more expressions in topics that we are more exposed to. And this is really important because often the problem is not you or your fluency. I can't speak fluently, and without hesitation, if you ask me a question about quantum physics, cryptocurrency, or gardening, because I just simply don't have the vocabulary to dive deep into that topic. But the more advanced you become, the more topics you want to read upon, to engage with, to be exposed to, so that you will be able to have that feeling of being able to talk about an array of different topics. And also, if you really want to reach that level of complete fluency, then avoiding talking about topics because you think you would sound dumb, boring, or you have nothing to add to the conversation isn't also the best way to approach things, because again, it's a mindset thing. It's about approaching every single opportunity and grabbing those opportunities because they are all opportunities for you to grow and learn from. I'm also a die-hard fan and a huge advocate for social learning. Literally every single group class that I teach, my students learn collaboratively because knowledge is co-constructed. What do I mean by that? We always learn from each other and expand our own knowledge based on each other's ideas and contributions. So you shape your own knowledge based on what you experience in English, plus what you're told by people around you. And this is a mindset thing as well. And I know how hard it is to really bring yourself to interacting with others, especially when it's so easy to hide behind your smartphone or a book in the 21st century. But in order to speak fluent English, you need that feedback, you need that interaction with other people. If you need a booster to your confidence, then I highly recommend you watch this video where I talk about confidence in detail. Just think about it. How are you supposed to know how to solicit opinions from other people or to react when someone's telling you the news if you're only practicing in front of the mirror? Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we do need interactions. We learn from each other and learn how to polish the way we express ourselves. And also, make sure when you do English speaking practice, you don't feel intimidated when you need to speak in front of people who speak better English. There's no such thing as better English. You're just on a different path. You know, some people prefer to ask for the help of a coach to really open their mind, to feel ready with their mindset. They could also ask for the help of a teacher to give them feedback, enroll in courses. So of course, they're way ahead of you in how complex the expressions that they use are. And you are not less of a person because you speak using less complex expressions, simple phrases, and you might even make mistakes. It's totally fine. Learn to own your mistakes and take full responsibility for your English. Reflect on the lessons you take with your teacher, the quality time that you spend studying. If you don't work on your mindset and be ready to communicate with people, no matter what their level is, it's going to be holding you back for a very long time. Everyone is equal on this planet, and you have the right to speak, practice, grow as an English learner and a human being. Okay, I kept this last one for those of you who are still watching. Actually, rewarding yourself for stretching your attention span or just simply for stepping out of your comfort zone can be really, really beneficial. And one thing I wanted to talk about is repetition. Our brain is more likely to notice something new, something out of the ordinary, because you're more likely to notice somebody walking on the street with green hair or with piercings in their eyes or God knows where than somebody with a regular short back and sides haircut, because your brain is naturally wired to spot the novelty because it always sees anything extraordinary as danger. And this is exactly why social media is booming. It wants us to keep scrolling. It wants you to keep looking for new information, new posts, instead of going back to something you're not so confident with, something you're not so good at. So if you really think about it, if you want confidence in your English, remember that listening to the same material or going back to old grammar structures you're not so good at using, or simply actively reviewing vocabulary in a conversation with a friend could significantly boost your confidence and help you become more fluent. Repetition should definitely take up at least 2/3 of your study time learning English in order to be able to speak English fluently in the long term. My students gain confidence in their English, become so much more fluent, and also feel free to talk about their thoughts, express their own selves because of all the repetition, all the repeated materials we do in class, and all the supporting system of resources that they have at their hands that really helps them review the things they really need to focus on in order to achieve fluency. And you've got to look at the things you are still not so good at, that still needs improvement, and consolidate it. Going back to the same material, again, reading the same text or listening to the same podcast, for example, can have so many more benefits, because when you do them the second time and you listen to or read them for the second time, you will notice different things. You will learn something else, something that you didn't learn the first time you did it. And there's so much power in that. And if you want to learn some more tips on how to learn vocabulary more effectively and avoid making those mistakes, then check out this video here. And this is all I wanted to say today. I really hope that this was helpful. I know many of you struggle with not being fluent enough or not feeling that you could express yourself without hesitation. Let me know how you work on your fluency. Leave it in the comments. And of course, any sort of support is more than appreciated on your side for this channel. I really appreciate any share, like, comment, or anything you could help with to support my work. And if there was something you liked, something you want me to talk more about, of course, you're more than welcome to either reach out to me on Instagram or just leave a comment here, and I'll be sure to check it out and talk about it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. So they have that, I don't even know what I'm saying. And this system of supporting resources. Much more freely about their thoughts. Rewarding yourself for stretching your comfort